Hello, everyone. I'm Silver. It is Wednesday, December 6th. I just wanted to say a quick hello to all new viewers and a welcome back to all returning viewers. If you tuned in last time and decided to come back, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Anyway, how have you been? I've been great. It has actually been a busy month around here in my little corner of the world. I have got a lot to talk to you about. Some new segments and some switching things up around this time around. So, I probably should just get started, right? So, grab your drink of choice, you are knitting or crocheting, and away we go. Today, I'm actually participating in a nice cup of Highland Grog, coffee from San Marcos. Mm, mm. Don't mind if I do. Now, don't let the name fool you. It's actually an awesome cup of coffee. Mm. Okay, let's move on to my favorite things. First off, I must say, my brother has actually officially left DreamWorks and has actually moved back home. He spent a week with my dad actually driving back home from California. He did get a job working for Blue Sky. I am very proud of him, and it actually is really great to have him back on the East Coast. So he's been wanting to get back for a while, so that's awesome. The second thing I want to discuss under my favorite things is the Phantom of the Opera. Yes, y'all. I went to see the Phantom of the Opera at the Palace Theater in Waterbury, Connecticut on the 15th. They're basically doing a touring company. Oh my gosh, so unbelievably awesome. I have to tell you. I'll even show you a picture of the program, etc. But the best part of that evening, I went on opening night and I actually mentioned just on Twitter how great a performance that they all did. I got responses back from the two people that I tweeted at. So that's exciting. Um, Another category of my favorite things that I want to talk about is family time because there was a lot of family time that we had over the past couple weeks, which is great. The first I want to mention is a family brunch. Basically, my grandfather was up in Connecticut from Florida. So we all decided we were going to get together for a family brunch. It was very nice to see him, and my aunt and my uncle from New York even joined us. We don't see them very often either, so it was wonderful to see everybody. We had so much fun. It was over way too quickly, but we pretty much took over one of the rooms in the diner that we went to, which was great. We had to let them know we were coming though, because kind of large party, right? The second thing I want to mention under the same category is we had a family dinner on November the 18th with both my parents, MPI's parents, and MPI myself, obviously. We all got together at Sliders, had a lot of fun as well. Good times were had, and it actually had been quite a while since we had all gotten together, and so it was kind of well needed. The last thing I'm going to mention is Thanksgiving here in America. It was a pretty quiet day with my parents for me. For me, my parents, my sister, and my sister's boyfriend, actually, MTI ended up going over his aunt's for Thanksgiving dinner, which was pretty cool. That way we split the difference on that, as we put it. So after dinner, we ended up playing, I say we, but everyone else ended up playing Ticket to Ride while I sat there and knit and kind of heckled and all that. I also admit I took a lot of photos while they were playing too. The next thing I'm actually going to mention under my favorite things, I won a prize for a knit along that I was participating in. I ended up winning the Myra Amira sweater pattern by Renee Mueller. I'm going to include a picture here. It is very, very gorgeous, and I cannot wait until I can get started on this one. It might be a bit because I have a few other things on the needles as we speak. The last thing I'm going to mention under this category is the absolute randomness of my job. Um, I'm going, say for example, I have this one quote that I sort of snarkily said about somebody who's not very good at computers. I said, "Whoa, showing, she's showing someone else how to work the computer. Enter the Twilight Zone theme." Yeah, this was actually said of a coworker that sweet lady that is always asking me for help with something or other on her computer, and she tends to freak out if it doesn't go right the first time. So there's that. Um, there have also been a lot of other moments over the past month, especially since we're going to be pretty much living there over the next month. There may be tons more. But there was definitely a lot more, but a lot of them do include rude words and only memes that my coworkers and I can enjoy and appreciate. I'm sorry, don't mean to be a tease, but there it is. But yeah, so instead of boring you with that, I'm just going to move on to more of my favorite things. Now, this category, I'm just simply going to say enabling and a word of warning. Some of the things that came in the mail, one in particular, does have a little bit of language to it. I'm going to say what it says, but you've been warned, and I'll give you the little like spoiler warning right before I do. That way, if you have little ones in the vicinity, you can always just, guard their ears. Anyway, the first thing that did come in the mail was from the Knitting Broomstick. I did get this wonderful Grinch bag. Ah, super gorgeous. Thank you so much, Jilly. Absolutely love this bag, and it's perfect for this time of year, right? The next thing that did come in the mail, I did get a Knit Picks shipment. I did get two different stroll tonal colorways, one called Canopy and the other one called Blue Yonder. I did get a shipment from Sibley Socks Yarn Company, what they call Opal and their funny base, which is a lot of awesome sparkles. The colorway 9332. Yes, they don't actually have a name for it, I don't think. I'd have to double check that for you. I'll put it down below if there is. Hmm. Okay, quick drink. All right, the next thing is the one that I was referring to. I did get something from the Wine and Crime podcast girls. I got two different shipments. One was the fucking patriarchy tumbler glasses, as well as the nice pop travel mug that they have. Oh my gosh, perfect. We've used them so many times since I got them. The second shipment had the fucking patriarchy bracelet that was matching that. I have that somewhere around here, but I should probably put on my wrist again, huh? Okay. Word warning away. Okay. The next thing that came in the mail was from Little Skein and the Big Wool. Oh, I love this. This is a watercolor sock blank called Glen Allen. Glen Ellen. Wow. Words, y'all. It's been a while. Bit rusty. Sorry about that. The next thing that did come in, I did get our November Wink shipment. We did get a 2015 Rosa Obscura red blend. I haven't quite tried it yet. We'll see how it goes. And then we also did get a 2015 Salint, Salint Chardonnay. Wow. I'm still learning, you guys. I'm still learning the names. Anyway, we also did get a 2016 Kokomoro Rosé. Kokomoro. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, just some notes from MTI and I, because we opened it almost right away because it was awesome. It was very good. It did have some watermelon undertones, which is perfect because watermelon was on the label, so yay. It's sweet and it is also one I want to repeat, so I may actually just order that by itself. Anyway, the last shipment that came in, or sorry, the last bottle that came in that particular shipment for the month was a 2016 Wonderful Wine Company wine blend. Haven't quite tried it yet, but it does look good. It does look good, y'all. Okay. So the next shipment that did come in was from Bijou Basin. I did get some Allure Wash. I did get a 16-ounce bottle of their scentless because I have lots of hand knits to make sure I block for other people, and you don't want to overwhelm them with scent, especially my mom is allergic to certain ones. So yeah, yeah, spoiler on that. Anyway, I did also get a 3-bottle sampler of some of their favorite scents too, and I cannot wait to get those started and try them out for myself. I hear they're good. Anyway, the next shipment that came in was from Miss Babs. I did get 2 different skeins of Yowza. One was a Seductress and one was Sea Teal. I got 3 of each. I'm planning on making sweaters with these colorways, one for me and one for MDI. I will give you more details on that as it gets closer to what I'm knitting for. And so the last thing that did come in the mail, I'm going to let you know it is a spoiler alert. So if you are part of the Yarn Over Truck Yarn Club, either look away or you can skip ahead. All right, you gone? All right. So the yarn that was part of this, absolutely gorgeous, you guys. It's the Apple Tree Knits Sinklin Base Hamilton gradient. Yes, that is the theme this time around. Hamilton. So there was also in that particular package, there was also a Hamilton themed ruler gauge. Oh my gosh, guys. I've got to remember to get you a closer photo sometime. Maybe put it on Instagram. All right. Anyway, I did get 2 different patterns. They were also Hamilton themed. I cannot remember the names of either one off the top of my head, but I'll be putting the name and a picture of the patterns here. Okay. So the last fun thing that was in this package, guys, was 2 postcards that are Hamilton themed. I can't even. Like, they did such an awesome job with this. So, if you always wanted to do a yarn club shipment, they are doing they opened up the last part of the shipment. So make sure you get on that. I'll actually get you the link to that as well. I'll put that in the show notes directly. Mm. Sorry, quick drink before I move on. Okay, I have a few FOs this time, guys. I mean, it's been a month, right? I should have some. Anyway, the first one that I did finish was what I called Yo Bro. The pattern I used on this one was the We Need a Geek to Break the Code socks by CC Allman. I did use a Pendia's Jewels colorway because Totally Awesome Geek is an official title. Um, that was on her snug base as well, I believe. I'd have to double check the label. I'll put it down below if it changes, if it's not that. I promise. All right, so I used is US 2 16-inch circulars on these. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. Look at these pictures. All right. The next project that I finished was what I called a tale of 3 locks, or loch, if you pronounce it I don't know even know if that's the right pronunciation. Anyway, the pattern was called Lock by Tin Can Knits. I did use 2 colorways of the Cascade 220 Superwash yarn. One of them was on the strawberry cream colorway, and the other 2 were made out of turquoise. Woohoo! These were for holiday gifts as well. Won't tell you who they're for, but it's that. I did do these all on a size US 6 16-inch marbles needles. Oh, love these needles, guys. Perfect. Alrighty. So the next FO was pretty epic. It's what I called the Lush E Princess. I'm going to show you some progression shots of this shawl, mostly because I did do this sweater actually for Nini Swimo. Yeah, it was a lot of detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video and take a quick break here to go ahead and show you those progression shots. All right, now that you've seen those progression shots, let me tell you a little bit about that. The pattern that I used on this one was the Lush by Tin Can Knits. I did use a colorway called Princess Rockstar by Rainbow Heirloom. Oh my goodness, guys, it's absolutely gorgeous. I just haven't put the buttons on yet, and that's not my favorite thing to do. Seeing as that's my first cardigan, I wanted to make sure I did that absolutely correctly. Anyway, I did also use a US6 4.0 millimeter marbles needles on those as well. Anything from a 16 inch cable to a 32, depending on where I was on the sweater. I had so much fun with Nanny Swimo. I've already planned for next year, but that's a spoilers for later, so you know. The next thing that I did finish was actually relatively small, but it took me a little bit more time than it needed to because I couldn't find the needles I needed for it. Either way, this one is what I called the Melly in Pink. It is the simply called the dog sweater by the Red Heart design team. I ended up using the Red Heart Super Saver solids in the pretty in pink colorway. I ended up using a 10.5 for the body of the sweater, which is a 6.5 millimeter needle on their 16-inch Susan Bates circular needles I used, and the size 8 5.0 DPNs I actually used on the what do you call those? The sleeves for the sweater. Um, that is also for a holiday present. If you couldn't quite figure out who it's from or who it's for, hint, check out my Instagram feed. Anyway, the next thing that I did finish was what I called Green with Envy with a winky face at the end. Because punctuation is important, y'all. So the pattern on this one was the We Need a Geek to Break the Code Socks by CC Almond. I did use Gnome Acres House Gnome with the Leprechaun Knickers colorway. Because as you do, that colorway alone got my attention when I bought it. Um, I did use a size US2 9-inch circulars on the toes. I did were on the 16-inch circulars. Actually, I believe. No, I lied. I never used the 9-inch circulars on that one until the very, very top of the hat. The top of the hat, top of the socks. Wow. See, this is what happens when you do your podcast notes in a hurry, right? Anyway, the next thing that I did finish this month was what I called Charging the Rouge. Now, this is actually new since the last time, so you are not going crazy. Well, about this anyway, because I am mental, I know. This is the Upstairs Downstairs, a cowl in three sizes by Paula Emmons Vizelle. I actually made this one for me. It was about time that I made my own, right? I did use, sorry, sniffles. I did use the Miss Babs Yowza Seduction colorway. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at this, yo. I did use a size US 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter marbles needles as well. I absolutely love those needles. Like I said, I think if I can find one in every size and, size and length cable, I would be set for life with those marbles needles, That's my review and I'm sticking with it. And then the last thing that I did finish this month is what I was calling the vanilla beans. This pattern was the CC's Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Almond. On this one, I did use the No Maker's Fancy Gnome in the Birdie Bots colorway. Super gorgeous, guys. This one was, I did on a 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circulars. Oh my gosh, guys. They came out so awesome. What do you think? Mm, quick drink here. Sorry, guys. Each section, apparently. Let's move on to what I'm working on. Now, I'm going to warn you, this section does include a lot of new cast-ons. And I'm hashtag sorry, not sorry on this one, I think. um, so yes, the first one does include a little bit of foul language, but I didn't actually write it out on my project page, so you're good with that one. It says, And this actually was a title for a project page was actually suggested by the recipient herself. So I'm sorry. Um, Math being 8-inch, not while you're sparkle rich. Yes. My friend Rachel at work was definitely having a hard time, and I decided I wanted to make her a nice pair of socks. I am using a CC's Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Ellman. I am using a US ones, mind you guys, US ones, which is a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circulars. The I am using that Opal Funny base, which is a 9332. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. I love these. And then this is actually being housed in my Hocus Pocus bag by Slip Stitch Studios. I cannot wait to get back to those, yo. And there's no deadline on those, so I can do what I want with those, right? The next thing that is currently on my needles is actually new since the last time we met as well. I am currently working on it, actually, to be honest. It is called the Lovely Friendship Travels. It is the pattern which is called, sorry, is one of the patterns from Minnesota 52 called Friendship Road Sweater by Corey Eisenberger. Sorry. Wow. I need to remember that name's pronunciation, right, y'all? Anyway, I am using a leading men's fiber arts dramaturg colorway called Love You to Pieces. Absolutely love this color, you guys. I have said this multiple times to my family members, especially when I was over at Thanksgiving, and I've said so many times, I feel like I am knitting with milk down Reese's Pieces because that's essentially what it looks like. You'll see in the picture, right, guys? Now, on this one, I am actually using a size US 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter marbles. I'm on a 32-inch circular cable to work on the body of this thing right now. It's kind of getting big. I cannot wait to see how it turns out. It's actually being housed in my purple TARDIS bag by Slip Stitch Studios. Now, I was using my blue TARDIS bag by the Knitted Broomstick, basically up until about half an hour ago when I switched it over before I recorded because it was getting a little bit too big for that bag. No, I don't want to give it away, guys. Or yeah, I didn't want to move away from that bag. But anyway, all right. So the next one that I have on the needles is actually relatively new. It's called Okay, I Give. It's a sock yarn blanket. Um, there is no pattern on this one. I'm kind of just winging it as I go along. I've had a few issues with that, but I'll explain that in a later segment. I am using a lot of my yarn scraps. I've started with the smallest mini skeins that I do have. Could be anything from like 10 grams up until about 20 right now. And then once I get further into the blanket, I have the longer stripy ones and the ones left over from my socks. So wish me luck with that, y'all. I am using a size US 2s, which is a 2.75 needles in many different cord lengths. Currently, they are on they're on a 16s until they get bigger. It's actually being housed in a Ziploc bag up until the point that it gets a little bit more cast on, and I'll explain more why it's not in an actual proper bag again in a later segment. So the next thing that I am working on, I am calling Rainbows for Markin. It's kind of a private joke, sorry. Um, the pattern is the CC's Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Allman. I am using the wow, West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in their Prom Paradise colorway, which kind of looks like a rainbow, hence why part of the project name there. I am using a size US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circulars. I'm actually using one of my Slip Stitch Studios tots. I just can't remember which one. Sorry. I will make sure I either put it below or the next time I work on it, I'll make sure to mention it. Anyway, the next thing that I'm working on, I am calling Point Me in the Right Direction. It's also the CC's Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Almond. I'm actually working out of a Gales Art single sock blank called Poinsettia because, you need holiday socks in the holiday season, right? This time I'm actually, for that particular one, I'm using a US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter 9-inch circulars. Before that, it was a 16-inch, just to kind of keep, get the toes going as you do. Now, as with every one of my sock blank patterns or sock blank patterns, what do you call it? Sock blank socks that I do, it's just being housed in a Ziploc bag. That way, when I do pull on the sock blank, it doesn't go flying like it did the first time. It's kind of something I've learned. And hint, if you have a hard time keeping your yarn in place on a sock blank, you might want to try that. It works for me. Don't know why. Anyway, the last new thing that I have picked up recently, actually just finished up this morning, I am calling Rhapsody in Socks. The pattern I'm using on this one is a toe-up socks with a difference by Wendy D. Johnson. I am using the Lolo Did It Everyday socks. The colorway is called Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm using a size US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle on a 16-inch circular cable. Now, this one is actually for a family member for 2018 holidays. I'm getting a head start. What can I say? I'll explain more of that in a later episode and why I did that now as opposed to next year. This one's actually being housed in my stained glass Zelda sock tot from Slip Stitch Studios, yo. I love this bag, and it's perfect for the individual that I'm making them for. All right, now there are two older works in progress that it did get a little bit of love this time. The first one I am calling Blue Love. This one is also the CC's Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Element. Did on another Gales Art single sock blank called Blue Love. I ended up putting, I'd say about an inch on the sock of this one, mostly to move it from the 9-inch circulars it was on to the 16-inch circulars, mostly because I wanted to cast on another sock. That's it. Selfish reasons. And as I mentioned, it is now on the 16-inch circulars. And also being housed in a Ziploc bag, because that's how I roll, y'all. Mm. Sorry, a little parched. I am also did a half a pattern repeat on my flat orchid wrap. But it does count, yo. You put a row in, it counts, right? I was going to make this for somebody for the holidays. I think I'm going to take my time. She's back in Connecticut now, so I have a little bit of time to get that to her. I am not stressing that one. Hashtag Grinch along. Anyway, the pattern I'm using on this one was also a CC Elman pattern called the Flat White Wrap. It's absolutely gorgeous so far, you guys. I am using a Miss Babs Caroline colorway Orchid, which is a nice light purple. And I cannot wait to get back to that. I'm actually eyeing the bag right next to me here. I am using, which is actually my pumpkin spice latte bag by the Knitting Broomstick. Oh, I love it. Pumpkin season does not end until I say it does, which means it will be going forever. Anyway, I am using a size US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle, and I am using my new Hiya Sharps. I absolutely love these needles. I bought it with the intention of working on this particular wrap to see how I would like the needles, which, spoiler, I love them. Anyway, I am using a size US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle, and I am using my new Hiya Sharps. I absolutely love these needles. I bought it with the intention of working on this particular wrap to see how I would like the needles, which, spoiler, I love them. Okay, we're going to move on to a newish segment to me. It's a segment I am calling Something Blue. Essentially anything that goes wrong, it's kind of my version of the frog pond, essentially. um, or what I used to call the frog pond. Anyway, I have to say, when I was going to pick up the stitches on the Lush cardigan, yeah, the Lush cardigan, let me tell you, I was absolute rubbish at picking up stitches before I started. After picking up the collar band on both sides and for the sides of the button band, I had it down only slightly better. Still rubbish at it, but better, I think. Okay, so an example, when I had to pick up 352 stitches on the bottom part of the yoke, I picked up 302 instead. It took me almost an hour on the morning of the 5th of November to count the correct number of stitches that I needed to increase to the right number. Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, I'll show you a picture of the pickup that I did for one of the button bands here. All right, so as I alluded to before, I also had to frog out my sock yarn blanket. The picture that I have of it was actually my first try at it, and I was knitting it kind of like I would a toe and just kind of increase every other row. Yeah, when I got to the color that you see at the top of this picture here, I tried to flatten it out and see if maybe I can, see what kind of distance I got on it. Um, It essentially had a bump in the middle, like you would a toe. So I'm actually going to try something else once the new year rolls around and I have a little bit more bandwidth to figure out how I want this to work out better. I don't want to do the traditional sock blanket that everyone else is doing, but kind of wanted to keep the whole middle center thing without having to do the crocheted cast on that everyone likes to use. I think it's Jenny Oak or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, uh, but anyway, so stay tuned. I'll give you more details on that as I start working on it again. So I do have some Back to the Future. Um, I have been doing a lot of plotting and planning. That is nothing new to all of you that know me personally or have been listening to the podcast for a while. I have a plan on casting on 4 different new socks for people for the new year. I have 4 of them. I'm not gonna tell you who they are, mostly because that would, give away the surprise. Because I think at least one of them listens to my episodes. So there's that. All right. And then the next thing that I have that's going to be somewhat upcoming for the next year is I'm going to actually participate in Nanny Swimo again. I'm planning on hopefully doing 2 next year. I've determined that patterning and me for KALs like that are not the way to go. But I do have one that I'm going to make for MTI and one for myself. Yes, you heard that right. MTI has agreed to let me knit him a sweater even though he doesn't think he will wear it. I think I think if he has a hand knit sweater, he will wear it a lot more than the commercial ones. I'm crossing my fingers right now, guys. You can't see that because, audio. But yeah, I'm hoping so. All right, quick drink and we'll move on. Sorry, like I said, this coffee is awesome. I cannot wait to get to the bottom of the container here. My tankard of coffee. Anyway, let's move on to X's and O's. So while I was away, I did start writing more reviews on the books I've read, especially those throughout the course of the year. I also did get an ARC or an ARC to review. In case you don't know, it's an advanced reader copy of the book Scandalous Beat by Michelle Mencken. I have to say, I absolutely adore her work. This particular book, though, was completely awesome. I did do a full review on my personal blog, which I will put underneath, and I will also link in the show notes so you know when you can find it if you'd like to follow. All right, so what you watching or reading, Silver? I have been listening to a lot, actually, believe it or not. I have listened to both Hamilton and Phantom of the Opera on pretty much on repeat. for a while. Also smattered in there were some holiday music as well as Metallica's Ride the Lightning, which happens to be in my car, so it's an easy listen, right? Um, but yeah, so going on to what I was reading. Well, I finished quite a few books this month because it's been a month and I like to read. What can I say? I did finish like I mentioned before, Scandalous Beat by Michelle Mankin. I also did finish two books by Diana Gabaldon in the Outlander series. The first one was the short story called Virgins, and then the second one was was Dragonfly and Amber. I literally just finished that before I started recording, you guys. Absolutely love this book, and I will do a quick review too on my blog mentioned above. I did also manage to read a whole series by Sylvia McDonald that is basically called the Cupid Stupid series with Cupid whatever. And oh my gosh, they are so stinking cute, guys. And if you have time, please read them. They go quick. Um, I did finally finish listening to 1105 Yakima Street by Demi McComber. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I had to end up listening to that directly from audible.com because it was not getting to my device. I have not been able to figure out why. Don't know. Anyway, the next thing that I did finish was another four book series by Mac Flynn called it's the Incubus Among Us series. It was kind of cute. I don't know why I managed to read all of them because yeah, it was definitely a four-parter written as four different books where it could have just been one. Let's just put it that way. And the last category, the seventh category I have here, it's basically books that I don't want to mention by name, mostly because, well, they're somewhat inappropriate and also they weren't that good. But there were 15 of them, so I win. I win Book Dash, right? That should be a thing. That should be a thing, Book Dash. Anyway, I am actually currently in the middle of Doctor Sleep by Stephen King. I'm also reading 10 Big Ones by Janet Vakovich. I'm still reading those very slowly, but I am reading those. I also am listening to Voyager by Diana Gabaldon, as you do. Alrighty, so what you watching, Silver? Well, speaking of Diana Gabaldon, I did end up watching Outlander season one the first time through. I am still planning on a second watch through with the commentary, and there was a podcast that went along with it too. So I may do a secondary watch with the podcast running in the background as well. We'll see. Season two and three, I will watch directly on Stars, but I will do that once I finish the next couple books just to kind of make sure. I had kind of heard through the grapevine that each season kind of corresponds with a book, so I don't want to spoil myself. You know what I mean? So the next thing I have been kind of watching a lot of is Supernatural, season five now up to episode 12, which is almost to the end, midway through the season. And I did stop to start watching this next series mostly because, well, there's holiday specials with this one. Yes, you guessed it, guys. Doctor Who. I ended up watching the new Doctor Who series, series one, series two, and I just finished series three up until the um the next holiday episode with David Tennant in it. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm having so much fun watching him. I had forgotten how many episodes that I liked because of some of silly little things that he said. Anyway, I did watch a bunch of movies this month as well. I ended up watching the movie Pixels several times actually. The first time was by myself, and the second one was actually with MTI. He's not very big fan of Adam Sandler, so I had to watch it first to kind of see, okay, all right, it's not just about Adam Sandler being goofy or whatever. It's really about the video gaming aspect, which is awesome. And if you haven't watched it already, I recommend you do. Essentially, It is aliens taking over forms of like classic arcade video games. And then Adam Sandler and a bunch of other comedians fighting said aliens. It's hysterical. It's awesome. Heck, I might watch it after I finish recording. Anyway, I also did watch Hocus Pocus, which is a classic, of course, for holidays. Ghostbusters. I watched Phantom of the Opera, the movie, as well as Mystic Pizza, the new Beauty and the Beast, as well as Paranormal Activity, 1, 2, and 3, because as you do. I also watched Dirty Dancing and Footloose. Yes. Now, if you hadn't noticed, I try every Wednesday or one day that I am home to watch a movie. And now I'm actually doing a little bit of a contest on Instagram. So that's a reason you should be following me. I am at Silver's Treats, or at Silver's Knitting, rather. Basically, I put up a little teaser from the movie that I'm watching and saying, hey, guess the movie you get. You get a pattern of $10 or more on Ravelry. So it might be worth it to follow me. Just putting that out there. Anyway, I've also been catching up with podcasts. I have been recently, I have found I am very obsessed with watching the Vlogmas episode, which is a vlog every day on YouTube for certain individuals. I'm actually watching 4 of them pretty constantly. The first is Stitching the High Notes because she's awesome. Homespun House, which is another one I watched last year, as well as Vine. And Cece, the queen that she is, I'm watching hers as well. They're unbelievably awesome. I do suggest. I know Suburban Stitcher has one. I know several others have plenty. All you have to do is just put in Vlogmas on YouTube and you can find them all. Those 4 that I mentioned are the ones that I'm pretty much constantly keeping up on. I'm trying to keep, catch up on everyone else's as well. But anyway, uh, I've also watched a quite a few regular length episodes, mostly because I had let myself get about 3 weeks behind in them. So still catching up, guys. Sorry. The first one, obviously, the Knit Girls, because they're awesome too, as well as Tea and Possibilities. I've got a few more to catch up on hers. Also, knit the books every time they pop up. Stitching the high notes. I do have a few others. I will link every single episode, every single podcaster that I ever watch will be in my podcast notes, so you know, because you should give them a listen or a watch. And now I do say give them a listen, not lately, mostly because the Knitmore Girls I have actually caught up to episode 410. I am now into 2017, y'all, in good time to almost be in 2018, right? I'm getting closer. I am so excited. I don't know why I didn't listen to them before, right? Quick drink. Now, this is a section that if you've got knitting, now would be the time to pull back and relax a little bit. We're going to go into the more you know. And before I do, you guessed it. I'm gonna finish up my coffee. Sorry, lots and lots of noise in the background. Anyway, the first one is Whip Down 2017. This is running from August 1st to December 31st at midnight or whenever I decide to lock the threads. So more than likely, you probably got until about noon-ish the next day, because yeah, you must be a member of the Silver's Dreamland podcast group on Ravelry to participate. You must also post FO pictures in the FO thread. It is 1 post per project. If you do end up putting multiple projects in 1 post, you'll only be counted 1. Sorry. Um, just remember also that tiny hats, washcloths, and other smaller items may be counted. However, 4 of those will equal 1 entry. This could be anything from the little like puffs and things you're putting in your sock plank, whatever. And that includes small squares too. Yay. Poly dipping is allowed, of course, as always. And any projects that is finished after the beginning of August will count. Any Ravelry count will also count as well. In this one, single socks do count. It is 1 post for the first sock, and then you can update the post for the pair if you happen to finish it later. Just trust me on this one. It's the only way to be fair about that one. Now, please use hashtag SDL whipped down 2017 on all social media, so I know that you are playing along. That is kind of important. I think I'm the only one that's been posting them on Instagram. I'm sorry. Mm. So there were 3 FOs this month. So congratulations must go to Moe's Crochet. All right. Now, what you really came for. You want to know what you're going to win, right? All right. The first one up is a copy of Chris Loves Wool Slip and Swirl Socks that was actually donated directly by Chris Loves Wool herself. Here's a picture of it. And yes, and I'll also put links and everything else in the show notes, as always. I also have a wonderful bag by Silvershed USA, a teacup bag by Molly Klein Designs, and there was also going to be a donation of 5 patterns from Ravelry, $10 or under. Those are going to be individual prizes, not one big bulk, so you know. The rest of the prizes will be announced as soon as they come in. And if you'd like to donate a prize, please PM me directly, or you can email me at silversdreampodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, you can PM me or even direct message me on Instagram as well. I answer those as fast as I can too. Um, the next KL that I am hosting, I am calling the Java Along. Now, this is the year-long along that I've actually been hosting to honor the wonderful genius that is Java Pearl Designs. So if you knit one of Cece or Dami's designs, please feel free to include it in the FO thread. You can also enter anything that reminds you of either one of them, or even something that they've said on the podcast, or their Geeky Girls podcast, Geeky Girls Knit podcast. Wow, words today, man. Anyway, all of them will count as well. So essentially, any project that you knit, crochet, weave, or spin that has anything to do with or is inspired by the Geeky Girls podcast, Java Pearl Designs, Dami's Doodles, or Java Pearl will count as well. Basically, I'm telling you right now, it will not be hard to convince me whatsoever. Even if you knit something in pink, it will count. Works in progress are allowed as long as they have actually been finished in the year 2017. Please feel free to go ahead and poly dip in other longs as long as it does fit with that other rule, those others rules as well. Wow, those other rules as well. I'm telling you, I take a month off and this is what happens. Anyway, now where was I in my list? There it is. Because yeah, I had to write them down, otherwise I'm going to remember. I won't remember. So each project that you finish and post counts as one entry into the giveaway. One post per project, preferably. You must be a member of the Silver Stream podcast group on Ravelry to participate. Please post any pictures on social medias using the hashtag SDLJavaAlong so that I can find your whips and FOs. Who knows? You may actually be entered in a drawing for random active patterning days. And still, those are going on, guys. Don't worry about that. All right. What you came by for with this one, right? The prizes. As promised, I will be giving away a digital copy of Cece's Coffee with Cece book. There have been still no responses to my original prompt with that. So what I'm actually going to do is just wait until I've actually finished all of the patterns in the book. It may actually be even earlier than that, to be honest. I think I'm going to end up just pulling for it with all the prizes at the end of the year. Because I have to tell you, I have not finished those pumpkin spice latte socks. I'm so sorry. That was the one thing I pulled myself away from this month. Anyway, just make sure you do post soon to win. I will also be giving away a physical copy of Cece and Dami's new book, Coffee with Cece and Dami 2, at the end of the year. The winners will actually be pulled from the FO thread only, so again, make sure you get your FOs in the thread. We do have 2 wonderful prizes donated by Nimrus on Ravelry. If you don't know who she is actually the genius behind Pandia's Tools. She has generously donated a skein of her hand-dyed yarn on her snug base called the Highlands colorway. as well as a set of Harley Quinn stitch markers for me to give away during the course of the Java along, which I'll end up pulling for, I believe, at the end of the month. Yes. I also have a coffee themed bag by Molly Klein Designs. Love this bag, yo. And so, if you hadn't figured it out, Cece and I both have offered to donate a copy of one of our patterns every month. Well, Cece donated 3. I'm going to be doing the rest of them. No FOs were entered this month, so random number generator from a Ravelry group on this for this month was 2 Aspen. So congratulations to Aspen. Please PM me on Ravelry. I am once again Silver's Treats. They're on Ravelry. Or Silver Luna 2112. Wow. See below. Silver Luna 2112. um, So, word of warning, if you do have any other crafty items you'd like to donate as prizes, please PM me on Ravelry, like I said, silverluna2112, or you can email me directly at silversdreamland@gmail.com. Let me fix that in my podcast notes because I keep putting the podcast at the end of that. Okay, so silversdreamland@gmail.com. All right. Now, I am participating in a few more alongs until the end of the year. One is actually the 13 Months of Magic KL. It's actually being hosted by Jilly of the Knitting Broomstick podcast. Now, so you know, there are a few rules and guidelines. I'm going to read them directly from her blurb because she says it's so much better than I do. Now, so you know, this KAL runs from August 1st of 2017 to January 31st of 2018, which is 13 full months if you're playing the home game. She has called this a KAL for simplicity's sake, but please know that all Ravelry approved crafts are welcome. This does include knitting, crochet, weaving, and spinning. In this particular one, you must craft 13 complete objects in this KAL in order to be eligible for prize consideration. These 13 objects can be any type of object or any combination of objects that you choose. You'll have one post in the FO thread for all 13 of your objects. Simply update the post with every new FO as we go throughout the year. She does have an example, so you know. It is one post per 13 objects. If you do finish 13 objects and have the time and would like to craft another 13, you are more than welcome to start a new post and do a second set of 13 objects for the KAL. If you do complete 2 sets, you will be entered twice into the prize drawing. So you know, no whips for this one. Only projects cast on and completed during the KAL timeframe are eligible for prize consideration. I think it's fair, honestly, because she did give you 13 months to do all those. Anyway, in order for your project to be eligible for prize consideration, it must have something to do with magic, witches, etc. Anything Harry Potter is eligible, but you are not limited to Harry Potter. Any phantom or items that contains or even relates to magic, witches, etc. works. Your project can be an item directly from your chosen magical fandom, or can be a pattern or yarn that is directly tied to magic in some way. Yes. If it is not immediately apparent how your project is tied to magic, please include a brief explanation in your FO post. Poly dipping is okay. Please feel free to poly dip in KALs from other podcasts on Rav groups and other KALs going on within the group, etc. There was a Weasley KAL that was hosted in January and February. So you know. There's also a chatter thread, so please feel free to post project plans, look for project ideas, share your yarn choices, talk about your favorite magical fandoms, etc. There was a wonderful pattern bundle put together for this KAL. If you were looking for that, I will link that directly underneath as well as in the podcast notes. You must be a member of the Knitting Broomstick podcast group there on Ravelry to be eligible to win prizes. Prize winners do have 30 days to claim your prize, or it is forfeit. AKA, she's going to give it to somebody else. Duh. Anyway, she does have a caveat for submitting small items. She's had many questions on whether or not smaller items are acceptable submissions for this KAL. The short answer is yes. Bookmarks, hexie puffs, blanket squares, dishcloths, etc. are absolutely fine to submit as one or many of your 13 FOs. If you end up needing to submit more than one set of 13 FOs, you may do a new post. She does reserve the right to change this if it becomes problematic in the future, but she doesn't foresee that. And she just wants everyone to have fun, essentially, right? Um, but anyway, sometimes those smaller projects can actually help to fill up the 13 so that everyone has a chance at winning a prize. She does reserve the right to change this if it becomes problematic in the future, but she doesn't foresee that. And she just wants everyone to have fun, essentially, right? Um, but anyway, sometimes those smaller projects can actually help to fill up the 13 so that everyone has a chance at winning a prize. The second KAL that I'm actually participating till the end of the year is actually the Tin Can Knits Along. So you know, there's actually a Tin Can Knits Along that's actually being done by the by the grocery girls. Oh, absolutely love those ladies. Let me tell you. They are featuring the amazing dynamic duo design team of Tin Can Knits. Yes, the pattern selection includes pretty much anything your heart desires, from sweaters, cowls, blankets, whatever. The list goes on and on. So basically, the details on this one is that from September 1st to January 1st of 2018, you can enter as many items as you would like. Whips that are 50% or less as of September 1st are eligible. You must be a Ravelry group member to qualify for prizes. And yes, the girls have so many prizes. They've been showing them off on their podcast. If you haven't been watching them, I recommend you do. So I do have a little bit of an administrati to go through before I sign off for the day, or for the week, for the month, rather. The first one, I have a question. Is anyone up for doing a virtual knit night with me? Just tell me what days you're available, and maybe we can do a knit night on Google Hangouts. Essentially, I'm just gonna have to learn how to do all that, and I really, really want to see you guys. I want to hang out with you guys. Um, it might not be until about January or after, depending on how my schedule for work looks, because it's going to be kind of crazy. I'm going to be pretty much living at work, like I mentioned earlier. Unfortunate, but true. Anyway, and I also am thinking about doing a whip down knit along for next year. It will be the only KAL that I am planning on hosting next year. I'm going to give more details of this in the January episode. So just feel free to just stay tuned. Alrighty. So I am pretty social. You can find me on our Ravelry board, which is Silver's Dreamland Podcast. I am Silver Luna 2112 there on Ravelry. On Facebook, Silver Streamland can be found at www.facebook.com/silverstreamland. On Instagram, I am both Silver's Treats and Silver Streamland. On Twitter, I am at Silver's Knitting. I do tend to read through all messages as soon as I possibly can. If you don't hear from me within 24 hours, please feel free to email me directly at silverstreamland@gmail.com. As always, everything that I do talk about can be found in the show notes, which is at silverstreamlandpodcast.com, so you know. All right, so I've rambled for long enough. It has been hopefully a delightfully random episode for you. I know your time is valuable, so I do appreciate you sticking out until the very end of the episode. Please feel free to just go to join in any discussion, or you can even create your own there on the Silver Streamland Ravelry board. I don't bite, I promise. So if I don't listen to anyone else, only say I do. Anyway, so please feel free to stay tuned for episode 37 on January 3rd. Until next time, happy crafting!